Show before the show. It is a Tuesday, June 4th.
Can you believe it's already 4 days into June? It's flying
Yep,
by.
time flies by fast.
Yeah, it does. Even when you're not having fun. You know, and your grandma used to say, time flies when you're having fun. I notice the time flies even if I'm not having fun. Maybe it's because I'm getting old.
Yeah.
There we go, Ben says.
Yep, good morning, everybody.
All right, here's that. Well, let me.
Can we change the music whenever you get a chance?
Sure.
Hit the beat.
Bam.
I like it a little better
I know.
for our morning vibe.
Here is the studio shot if you were interested in that. Right.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Even
It
with
gives
the
us.
thing up top, can you lower it a little bit?
that's
'cause
what
you
I'm.
can-
Yeah.
Yeah, just that little thing at the top.
I like it. I like the blue.
There
That's
you
the
go.
blue. That's the blue color that I always envisioned.
Yeah, the blue is great.
Yeah.
The blue is fabulous.
You can see all of our clutter.
It's just, you know, a work in progress.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
We got to switch it up.
No, I needed some good news today.
What's your good news? You got some?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love to see people doing well in life.
I do too.
Treat people good, be honest, don't lie, be loyal. And I love to see good, loyal people doing well. And Troy, I love John Rourke from Blue Line Movie,
Yes,
Great
yes.
American Cleanup, who we have on the show.
Yes.
My New Yorker friend.
Oh my gosh! And did you read what he said? He
Yeah.
moved John.
I set
Hannity.
Troy up with John
That's nice.
to move Troy Turner to
Makes
Florida.
sense. Okay.
And now John is going to move Troy from the St. Louis metro area to
Love it.
Florida.
Love it.
And John is just telling us that he also just moved Sean Hannity.
Yeah. And I know Sean Hannity moved from New York to Florida, but I didn't realize that he hadn't already moved yet. So good for him. I knew he bought a place.
Where was Hannity moving?
Florida. I don't know what part of Florida, but he got out of New York and he is just so upset with New York. So Fox is letting him do his show from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And he apparently has been. So he must just now realized he liked it and wants John to move him. Okay, so Chris says, happy Men's Mental Health Month. I refuse to acknowledge June being Acceptance of Sexual Depravity Month. It's also, and I don't know if this is part of the men's mental health, it's also PTSD month too, awareness month, primarily for, I believe, our soldiers. And Robert says he believes Hannity is in the Naples area. I thought for sure he would want to be there in Palm Beach by the Don. Naples is so beautiful though.
So good that I wanted some good news this morning. That's some good news. I'm glad that you're using Troy. I'm glad that you're using John Rourke and that Hannity is using him as well. Good news. This is the show before the show. Thank you everybody for jumping in. Another big show today. Andrew Bailey going to be on the show. Missouri Attorney General. Always love it when Andy's here. I've got to perfect my.
You got to perfect your voice on that.
Well, I'm going to go after every Democrat I possibly can. I mean, there's just no.
You have to go after every Democrat.
Am I in the neighborhood at all with that?
Yeah, you sound pretty good.
Well, I'm not going to sit back and let these liberal asses.
That's right. I don't know that A.G. Bailey says asses, but I bet he's thinking it. You know he's thinking it.
Hey guys, please like, subscribe, share the show. Let people know that we're here. Another big day of the show yesterday. Grateful for all the support that we have. We love it when you're here. I want to give a shout out to my boy Tony at the BP. I really needed a coffee this morning before I got here.
Tony at the BP.
I walk in.
I love it.
I'm already running a little bit late, and there's a line of workers. There's about 6 landscaper guys.
Okay, yeah.
All standing there. And he goes, Vic, and I felt uncomfortable because I'm not that cool. I'm not, and I don't think I am. But he's like, I got it. Just get out of here. He's like, you're going to be late to the show.
Oh, that's nice. Because is that the same guy that realized now you're on a show?
He listens to us.
That's so cool.
He's the one that said, X is the best platform to listen to.
Yes. A lot of people listen on that platform.
He's like, I liked you on Fox. He's like, but I like you better on Cancel This.
Yeah. And I thought you were great on Fox. You were my favorite for sure on Fox. And up until the point you didn't work there anymore, I did watch it because you seemed like you were the only one.
You could tell.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then you were also on the edge, and you could tell for sure. But even then on the edge, I thought you held back compared to what you do now, because you're probably working at Fox. You could tell you were the conservative on the show, but sometimes I was like, is he conservative, or is he just trying to be moderate to try to keep the other two under control? I couldn't tell.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Keeping the other two under control.
Right. I mean, that's what I thought.
I won't even get into that.
Trying to keep everybody under control, and I thought it lost some of the content a little bit.
Funny.
But now that I know, yeah, you're totally conservative. You don't ride the fence. You tell the truth. Yeah, we get all that now. But I also like that you're one of the very few people that is in conservative talk, especially in this area, that we call out the people that are so-called very conservative when they're lying or not telling the truth. So you go there too, which is so refreshing.
Well, and we appreciate it. And that's why we've become the #1 downloaded news talk show throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. And we are grateful for that. Grateful. We'll see where it goes.
I'm laughing at Ben right now.
What did he say? I got to get back.
He said the backwards hat held you back. And that was what I absolutely loved, the backwards hat.
Oh, that's when I did radio.
That's
I didn't do that on TV.
No, but I love that, because on TV you looked, very organized and like news boy. And then when you put the hat backward, I don't think that made you seem less of a conservative. I just thought it made you be more relatable. I liked it. But then I like people who wear their hats backward.
No, I still wear it backward.
Yeah.
I wore it backward a couple times in Myrtle Beach when I was there.
Okay. Very nice.
With Megan over the weekend.
And Kimberly's saying too, you definitely held back on the edge.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know why? Yeah, you know why I had to.
Yeah, because you were still working at Fox.
Well, because remember Drew?
Yes.
The evil, hateful, murderer calling African-American.
Yeah.
Nasty. He called my bosses on me twice.
And you still entertain him by
in 2 years? No, he tried to get me fired.
Of course he did.
And now I can say, Drew, F you, you're fired.
F you, Drew.
And we did fire you. You're the only person ever been fired from Cancel This, where all opinions are welcome, because you wanted the murdering. Who did he want murdered?
Ashley Babbitt.
Oh, she deserved it or something.
Yeah, she deserved it. And he went on very graphically, and I warned him, because we don't want to be the show that we cancel anyone, but that does cross the line. So I get, okay, so that's really refreshing to find out why. I thought you held back because
but listen,
news.
As bad as my general manager and news director were when my story hit, and how they lied to me and my attorney.
Yeah.
Matt Fry, who is an awesome freaking attorney in that situation. He's in the same practice with Scott Rosenblum.
Okay.
As much as they lied and didn't let me tell the full story about everything that really happened before, and just listen, as I said before, I got myself fired. Okay. I didn't blame anybody.
But you've always said
but there was a whole full story that nobody knew about.
Yeah. And now,
but anyway,
it, I get it.
But those two people, even though they ran for the hills and didn't let me tell the story, they still allowed me to do that show. Yeah,
which is really
listen.
Nice.
I'm loyal. I'm loyal to people. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I am, and I appreciate what people do for me. And they gave me that opportunity, and that opportunity led to this.
Correct.
So I was frustrated by how they did that, but if you screw up in life at all, you have to accept responsibility. And I did, but they were good in allowing me to do that. By the way, as the chat line says, AKA Mark Harris. He will jump on the line too as Mark Harris. And
I think Mark Harris is Drew.
I've never blocked him, but he still sends me messages almost daily.
Yes.
But I just don't read them.
Well, there you go.
I just let
Yeah, and Mark Harris, even though I think it is AKA Drew, hasn't crossed the line. And if he does, then but at this point, he just has a different opinion that looks kind of dumb.
Listen,
that's all
I don't
right.
care.
You can have a different opinion.
I and Lizzie, we generally want people to be happy. We do.
We do.
We want people to be happy. I don't wish, but even if somebody does something bad to me, I don't want bad for them. I don't
either.
I finally reached that point in life.
Yeah.
I want truth. We need to have truth in life, but.
Well, and the best way is kind of like what Donald Trump said. The best way when people do things to you, people said that to me too. When people did all that stuff to you, Lizzie, why did you not say anything? I said, because it's not worth my time. It'll blow over, and the truth always comes out.
It does sooner
It
rather than
always
later.
comes out.
It does.
So it'll reveal
It
itself.
doesn't
on its
mean it's
own.
easy to accept, but it's always
No.
better to have truth than to not have truth.
That's right. And somebody on the chat line, and I will concur with you, Donna, said that yes, even though Vic said what he said, it was a setup. It absolutely.
I don't want to
was
get
a
into.
setup.
I know I don't want to get into any of that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
You're
that.
not saying that.
No, okay. I'm not saying that.
Mhm. And Kathy says it's nice to have rent in people's heads for free.
Yeah,
That is very true.
we do.
Very, very true. But we do. I wish anybody. I love to see people.
But if you
succeed.
handle yourselves well in life and don't, I mean, literally, God has your back. He does, and I feel I'm at such a great point in my life, and I know God has my back, and there's so many good things going on. Life is just—it's a big lesson.
Yeah,
a big lesson.
Yep, agree.
Okay, let's go ahead and start the show. We went late today. I'm sorry, guys. Hey guys, welcome into Cancel This. There's my mic. Hey guys, welcome into Cancel This, canceltheshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house today. We are grateful for you joining us as you do every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and of course, all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. News headlines, politics, interviews from all over the country, cancel culture education, and of course, our people's platform. You guys bring in the topics. We may bring them up. You guys may bring them up, but we are grateful for everything that you guys do with what we do here on the show. Okay. Like, subscribe, share the show. Whatever we have going on, we love you guys to be a part of it. Lizzie is Quick Draw McGraw with her thumb. She's got the fastest thumbs in the Midwest, maybe the entire country, but for sure the Midwest. If you see Lizzie and you're new looking down, it's not that she's not paying attention to me or you. She's keeping up on the chat line. And if she's talking and you see me looking down, that's because I'm doing stuff on X to continue our algorithms, to make sure that we're up there, to make sure that we continue to grow. We're grateful for that. We're also grateful for the advertisers. Don't worry about it, Joe. I'm just saying their names right now. Complete Auto Body Care, because I know you've got Complete Auto Body Repair, the St. Louis Injury Council with David Gregory, WeQuipUSA.com, and of course Wendy's, and we'll tell you more about them later. Please go to our website, check them out at cancelthisshow.com. Big show coming up today. Speaking of interviews, the Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who makes more news as an Attorney General than anybody else in America. There's no doubt about it. Andrew joins us at about 8:40. He has a lawsuit to stop all that student loan debt that Joe Biden promises to pay for. And if you didn't know yet, he doesn't have law on his side to do this. It's all a ploy to get votes as the 2024 election comes up. That's just one thing we'll be talking about. He's got other situations coming up when it goes to Media Matters. We're also going to talk about elections that are coming up, what's happened with Donald Trump. And if you didn't know yet, Andrew Bailey has his own podcast. And I'm convinced he started it after seeing and experiencing what he had right here.
Oh, of course.
Because he asked to be on our show every month after his first visit here with his podcast. So if you didn't know, he's got his own podcast that they launched 5 weeks ago called The Bailey Wire.
Love it.
Yeah, so we'll talk to him about that as well. We've got Fauci stuff. It won't bring back people who passed away.
No.
A lot of people say who were unalived. It won't bring back horrible memories that people have had. But it may make you feel a little bit better to watch Fauci squirm and get crushed at Capitol Hill. Will he go to prison? No. Will he ever be indicted? In my humble opinion, no. Will he ever face the consequences for his actions? Not in this lifetime, in my humble opinion. But at least it goes to show what he did, what he was responsible for, and he got crushed yesterday.
That's
Absolutely crushed. Did you see? We're going to get into that.
Yeah, it makes his crown look crooked. So good.
It makes his crown look crooked?
Because he thinks he's the king.
Oh.
And so at least now it unbalances his crown, even to his own people.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. Also, believe it or not, there's 11 teams, 11 NFL teams that refuse to honor Pride Month. This is the NFL. I was shocked to see that 11 teams. So 21 of the NFL's 32 teams delivered a message on X, but the other 11 did not. So we'll get into them and we'll talk about all of that. The Washington, of course, Washington, D.C. Commanders said Pride Month is all about love.
Oh, stop it.
They did. They said it.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll get into that as well coming up. Also, looking for the other story that we have. What else did I push today here? Oh, hey, did my soundbite with Biden and his teleprompter not go through? Because we didn't look at that this morning. It must not have went through.
No,
Huh?
I don't think so. I didn't see it.
I'll go back and look at for it when Lizzie's talking, but we appreciate you guys jumping in. Okay. Like, subscribe, share the show. Like, subscribe, share the show. Fortunately, the St. Louis Cardinals are celebrating. Oh, okay. Well, I thought most Major League Baseball teams are. Tanya says Fauci lies never stop. Listening to some of the Dems praise Fauci and thank him for his service was puke-worthy.
Really.
But what else do you think they're going to do? They have to. If you go against the Democratic narrative, you'll get your lashes. You'll be sent to the back of the line, and there is a pecking order. With the Republican Party, it's a free-for-all. Let's eat each other's lunch. Let's slap each other. We don't care. We're out from. We don't have a. I guess you would say a pecking order. Republicans don't have each other's back.
They don't.
So it's what it is. Donna says Pride Month is all about exploiting what sex preference you have and flaunting
right.
it. Hey, if you're gay, if you feel you were born that way, you can be that way. But Pride Month is that. It is. And I have several gay friends and gay friends who support this show. We've had gay guests on. And they can be who they want to be. And we're not going to go after people on this show from that standpoint.
Well, I just always thought it was.
But Pride Month is about that.
Right. It is about.
I mean,
that.
And it doesn't mean that it's bad, good, and different, in my opinion. It's just that's what it is. It's about talking about what sex preference you are.
Right. And that's hard to explain to your child. When I wouldn't take my children to that sort of a parade. It has nothing to do with people being gay. It's just, how do you explain that, Mom? Why do they call it pride? And I have always grown up that pride refers of thinking of yourself in an exalted attitude and the opposite of humility. So that's just an odd thing to call it. And I have nothing against them doing it. It's just, I'm not going to take my child there and have to explain to my granddaughter, well, that means that's where they put their genitals. Literally, it's like where their genitals go. I'm not saying that.
No, I know, I get it. And, I
mean, that's what it is. People don't like me to say that. They're like, Lizzie, I can't believe you just said that. I said, but that's what it is. It's where they want to put their genitals. That's what it is.
Well, we've kind of gone that way. So I guess I'll go that way right now when we talk about, and we'll get to the Fauci, we'll get to Andrew Bailey coming up, the Missouri Attorney General. But, June is Pride Month. And pretty much everywhere you look, you're going to see Pride Month stuff. Okay. It's around. That's what it is. But at the same point in time, not everybody is celebrating. The NHL this year refused to wear their teams, refused to do their rainbow colored sticks. They went against it. They actually went against celebrating Pride. Most NHL teams went against it. However, this was what I found interesting. I figured that every NFL team would have done it, but there was an NFL message that was delivered on X via team timelines. It was sent by 21 of the NFL's 32 teams to their approximate 42 million total followers, 42 million total. Some teams tweeted out their support that Pride Month has arrived, and some delivered messages of support. I told you what Washington did, but some teams also sent tweets and went the extra step by altering their logos or X banners. So you've got the Washington Commanders, the Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles. They all changed the color of their logos to match a pride flag. Okay, so I don't know how people feel about that. The Vikings in Minnesota, remember, Minnesota is what color state? It's a blue state.
Yeah.
It's been a blue state. They not only tweeted out their support and changed their logo, but also changed the banner of the X account. So they're apparently very excited about Pride Month.
Apparently so. Apparently they think that's very exciting.
But the NFL didn't tweet its support of Pride Month on June 1st. Instead, they retweeted the Chicago Bears and Jacksonville's tweets. So they did that. I just, I find it interesting that those teams and how it goes to their support bases. Do people really care what the NFL is doing, what they're not doing? But 11 teams chose not to tweet or acknowledge Pride Month.
Right.
The Steelers, the Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs,
Interesting.
the Denver Broncos, the Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, and Atlanta Falcons. All those teams said, no, we're not going to push us out there. We're a football organization. We're not going to get into social issues.
Yeah, I think
We're
that's
an
smart.
entertainment industry.
Yeah, people want to just watch sports and they don't need your opinions on anything, whether it's Pride Month or anything else for that matter. People use sports as an escape from what's going on in their normal life. So I think it's great when sports or entertainers do not even talk about their political persuasion. I know my husband is going to get his hair cut at a new place. And that was one of the things that the person put on their website is do not come in here and talk about social, politics, whatever.
Really?
Yes. And
at a haircutting place, they had to put it out there?
They did. And I thought that was very interesting. And people would have thought my husband and I would have been, I cannot believe that you like that since we are so conservative. But when we get our hair cut or go to a sporting event or whatever, why don't we just talk about things that have nothing to do with that? So that actually did not turn my husband off. He actually made a haircut appointment because of that.
Hey, Joe, are you keeping us in one shots then? Because I've been looking this way.
He's doing both.
Okay. Yeah. We've been given different looks here and playing with our stuff every day. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right camera.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm not doing the full wide shot is because if we were going to do that shot, I would have left it like it was before. It shows way too much clutter. I figured that was a good show before the show angle.
Well, we feel free to jump in every now and then and show it too. It's yeah.
All right.
I'm sure the Cowboys didn't have to since they already have a gay logo that, according to Chris, he said he's a Green Bay fan.
Wow.
Okay. Ha, 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 Oh, it's time for the NFL insults to come flying for everybody around.
Right.
This is cancelthisshow.com. Robert brings up a point. He's like, listen, isn't pride a sin?
Yes. And I just put the Bible verse in that.
And I didn't mean, Joe, that you have to keep it. I meant like just every night. I'm sorry.
Well, and
Joe is so great.
He is great. And we keep going, Joe, do this. Joe, do this. Never mind, Joe, do this. Do this, Joe.
Paul says anybody who's gay doesn't need to march down the streets.
And that's true too. Most gay people that I know are not marching on the streets. They really aren't. So, I mean, when I made that comment earlier about the people marching, and it was my opinion about the whole keep your sex life in I don't want to hear about it. But that wasn't even talking about gay, straight, or whatever. Not every gay person, it does get involved in that gay pride stuff. But when you were talking about the Bible verse that pride, who was somebody on the chat line said that Proverbs 16:18 is that pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall.
It is. It's
you just got to be, and I'm not even talking about.
Well, I've talked a lot about pride.
You just can't be prideful.
No, you can't.
Because it is, as soon as you're very prideful, you're going to get a fall.
No, you will. By the way, 11 NFL teams decided not to participate. It is Pride Month, and I don't know if I want to go there, but I saw a lot of stuff there yesterday. I know some really good people, and they are not demonic in any way. But I did see, and I didn't choose to send the graphic up, but if you put Pride Month together, the word.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It says demon in the middle.
Right.
I'm not going that far yet. You guys may go that far. Donna says we need to take back the rainbow. Here's the thing. You can say, and you can have whatever opinion you want, and you can say that that's demonic or whatever, but I wouldn't call people demons. And I think that word can get put in there because if you put Pride Month together in the middle of it, it's D. Is
that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah. And you can send it to Joe and we can show that if you have time to do that.
Yep.
Just because, once again, if you think it's a quote sin, you can hate the sin, not the sinner, as we've talked a lot about from that standpoint before too. But it is one of those things that's out there now. It's in our communities, it's in our schools, it's in the sports. We were addressing it primarily because of what happened with the NFL and the 11 teams that were choosing not to. And here's the great thing. I don't hear any national outrage right now for the teams that chose not to participate.
I haven't heard any either.
Yeah. If you choose to participate, great. If you don't, great. It doesn't mean you are against somebody.
Correct.
If somebody chooses to live their life a certain way or feel that that's how they are or that's how they were born, okay, that's up to them. But if somebody doesn't agree with how you're doing it, that doesn't mean you hate them or it doesn't make them a hater.
That's right.
You should not hate them. People can have their opinions, and that's what we talk about. You know what? It is what it is. That's what Lizzie just said.
Yeah, it says a little hint of what dwells at the heart of Pride Month. And then someone put this on their Facebook. It says Pride Month and then Pride Month. And then it shows you right in the middle of the two words says demon, and it goes down to demon. And it says the Bible says of the prince of devils that he is a king over all of the children of pride. And that's in Job. So there's definitely, and this isn't even necessarily talking about being gay people. It's just pride. If you dwell on what you're doing is full of pride, then that is a sin in the way you say it. And I know that sometimes I think about that when I tell my kids, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. And I say the word, I am proud of you. It shows that, it's my human nature to want to think my kids are going to do great. So I guess I am being prideful in that.
I will say I agree with Glenn, and we appreciate the chat line that we have. Glenn says, by the way, drag shows are demonic in front of kids.
Yeah, that's the part that this show is
100%.
That's the part. If you, as a independent conservative, you can do whatever you want. As I always say, you do you, boo, but don't touch the kids. That's my issue with it. Don't touch the kids. And there's plenty of heterosexual people that are the ones that abuse kids. It's not just people that are of the gay persuasion. Heterosexuals do it all the time. And so leave the kids alone. Leave them alone. I don't think just because you're gay, you're a pedophile. I absolutely don't. It's in the heterosexual community too. And unfortunately, it's even in the church community that you can't anymore put your child in church and not ask. And it's okay to ask the church, do you screen your volunteers when they work in the nursery? If you don't, my kid's not going there because they could be a pedophile babysitting your kids while you're in an hour church service.
Donna wants to get something in. She says she has nothing against people's sexual preference. She just doesn't understand why they need to flaunt a flag and have a parade.
Correct. Correct. And I think at the beginning they did that because they came out of the this is I don't know if this is true. This is just my opinion, that they came out of the closet, so to speak. That's the word that was being used at the time. And then they were prideful because now they don't have to hide in the shadows.
Pam says, I believe drag is far worse than being gay.
Oh, way worse. Way worse. If you do it in front of kids. I don't see the purpose to it. My husband worked with several people years ago that they were drag queens, and we were nice to them. And a lot of them liked my husband just because, I don't know, gay people like my husband, maybe not so much as he's gotten older. And so we've always been nice to gay people, but I'm like, leave that stuff at the door when you come in my house. I don't want all that. I don't want all that.
This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house as well. Yeah, and a lot of people are going back and forth when it comes to that. It is Pride Month, whether you see it, you do it, whatever. NFL 11 teams said, no, we're not going to participate, and that's their prerogative, and they go from that standpoint. The NFL did, or excuse me, the NHL kind of bypassed it. It seems like most Major League Baseball teams last year participated. Only one team did not have a Pride Night last year. You know who that was?
No.
It was the Texas Rangers.
Of course.
You know who won? You know who won the World Series? Or went to the World Series? The Texas Rangers.
Yeah. It's not even the belief behind of it. It's a distraction. When you have to do Pride Month or this or that, and everybody starts to get in an argument, you're taking the eye off the ball. Literally, the eye off the ball. And so you can't play as well. So just team.
Well, you can't. Well, I mean.
Yeah, you don't. Some people cannot do distractions.
Well, the players don't. I mean, the players don't care. They go out and they play. Donna says, yeah, sure. Don't see women impersonating men. Ben says, what? No Bud Light statement this year?
Good point.
Bud Light, by the way, still struggling
Yeah, they are
to return
struggling.
their sales of, even though they've paid a lot of money. It just goes to show what happened. You have to be careful when it comes to business and what you've got going on.
Have you bought any Bud Light since then? I know I have an adult beverage
but I don't care.
refrigerator. I don't care if somebody's drinking it now either, because it's kind of blown over, and I think they've paid their dues, so to speak. And I have a lot of people that I know work for Anheuser-Busch, and it would hurt them, but I just haven't gone back to buying it and putting it in my refrigerator. Just out of habit, I guess. I just don't pick it up.
No, I get it. Glenn says, nope, no way in hell, not doing that. By the way, when I came in today, Joe was it Joe or Lizzie? You guys saw my jacket and you thought I should
I
show
saw
it.
your jacket, but I think Joe did too.
I did it today. I never, I have a jacket on, but back when I made custom suits.
I love it. I love it. I'm not sure I ever realized that was on the inside of one of your
I did. I had,
look at it.
and I showed this on the news once too.
I love it.
I mean, people have suits, they have inner linings, but I really wanted to do this one of the American flag.
So see, this shows,
and I did a picture, like a
I
post
love
of I did a post on Pic, or a post on Pic, a post on Facebook showing my American flag inner lining. And we'll have Ben on from Tom James Clothing again. Ben's my friend.
And he made your jacket. I would love to meet him. That is the coolest jacket.
Yeah, you're gonna
got a nameplate in it.
You two are gonna have a little money to spend there. They're gonna be an advertiser.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. If I can't play, at least you get you a little bit of something.
That jacket is, when you just walked in with that jacket, and maybe I've seen it before, but I don't know, today you like turned it upside down and I'm like, that is a cool jacket.
You're like, what?
I'm like, what? And
the only thing that would be better is maybe I'll get one with a Trump face inside.
That would even make it better, for sure.
So, but then you have the inside of the jacket, which was there, and then you have the pocket square. So that pocket square, as you see, it's attached inside. So it was made already.
That's perfect.
So our American flag gets put on the jacket.
That's what you need to do. Is the next one you get is just the little thing that comes out of the pocket. Just have Trump's face right there. Just right there.
And I think this is a compliment, so I'll say it. Anthony says, Vic, you would make a fabulous gay man with your sense of style.
That's true.
Well, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it.
What did you say earlier when I first started working? I had really never known anybody to call themselves that. And you called yourself a metrosexual.
Now, I said that I'd been called, but that was a term that used to be used.
I never really even thought about that word. And then you said that. And I'm like, what even is that word? I never even really heard of it.
Greg says he'd like a vest made from the jacket interior.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's
so cool.
American flag stuff, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I wore it when Governor Parson was elected, because I went down to his campaign event when he was elected. So during his last term, I'm trying to remember where I went for that. Oh, Springfield. He had it in Springfield. Yeah. Paul says I'm very metrosexual. I didn't even know that word was used anymore. Metrosexual.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was,
because that word's been around for a long time.
Yeah. It just has not been in my vernacular.
But anyway, you guys wanted me to show it.
I did.
So there it is.
I did want you to show
We love America. We know that Donald Trump is the best candidate for president. So we love Donald Trump because we love what this country needs. Glenn said, did you trigger anyone when you showed it on air? No, I didn't. I didn't trigger anybody.
Yeah.
Or at least nobody said it. And trust me, there are people. And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, this was back when the American flag didn't trigger people.
Well, I don't know. Colin Kaepernick he was.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have triggered somebody 3 years ago, because you can go through a neighborhood, and if it has a lot of American flags, as a general rule these days, you kind of know it's more of a red area than not. And you go through areas, say if you go through St. Louis City, you don't see a whole lot of American flags. You see more of all different kinds of flags, just all different. But then when you're out maybe in the suburbs or a red area, there's a lot of American flags. So that would lead someone to believe that a conservative is more apt to fly a flag than someone else.
Jay says the majority of Americans love the flag anyway. So there you go.
I'm so glad.
Glenn asked me if I had one with a pride flag. No, I don't. I don't have one.
Well, why would you? You're not gay.
No. And it doesn't mean that I'm against people.
Correct.
Who are gay.
That's right. That's right.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Megan says Colin Kaepernick triggers her.
I know. He kind of triggers me too. Did you know, you missed this, but that we were talking about on the show Thursday or Friday when Megan was in here, something that I do that I trigger people. And so we decided that when we're on, instead of cancel this, she renamed the show Trigger and Meigs.
What'd she name it?
Trigger Sparks.
Trigger Sparks.
Trigger Sparks and Meigs. And, you know,
Meigs?
Meigs for Megan.
Oh, for Megan.
Yeah. Trigger and Meigs is our segment.
Well, there you go.
Because I trigger people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway,
Patriot Suits by Faust, according to Grady.
I don't even know, what does that mean?
That means you can start a actual suit company called Patriot Suits by Faust. Just think about that.
You can sponsor Showdown.
Yeah. Yes. Wouldn't that be great if you opened up a suit company?
Oh my God.
Called the Patriot Suits by Faust, and then you went on liberal shows. They probably wouldn't have you on.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
You don't think they'd take money, or
You know what? Maybe they would, but they wouldn't call it Patriot Suits. They'd be like, call it the.
Oh, you'd have to call it by name.
Two chicks and a mic.
Two chicks and a mic. Yeah.
But actually, you had two mics.
Yeah. Two chicks and a mic.
Two chicks, two mics, one purpose. Something from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, this is Cancel This, CancelTheShow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house as well. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, all the time on our website, CancelThisShow.com. Thank you again for jumping in on the People's Platform. You guys continue to bring all kinds of great story, information. Of course, you can catch us on Facebook. We're on X, big following on X as well. Clout Hub, YouTube, Rumble. We're on all those spots as we continue to do that. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to talk live with Andrew Bailey, Missouri's Attorney General, who's making quite a name for himself. He's got his own podcast now as well. We were talking about that. He's also doing everything he can to stop Joe Biden from using your tax dollars to pay for people's college debt, their student loan debt. That's right. All in an effort to try to get votes. I've got an idea. How about we actually pay off Social Security or refill the Social Security coffers before we start looking at paying off people's debts?
Mm-hmm.
How about that for a novel idea? So Andrew Bailey will come in. Following Andrew Bailey in the 9 o'clock hour, we will break down the grilling that took place yesterday with Anthony Fauci. Is he going to go to jail? In my humble opinion, no. Will he meet his maker someday? You better believe it. But at least we got to see him sit uncomfortably yesterday and get absolutely crushed, verbally abused for what he did and did not do when it came to COVID. Yeah, it was wonderful to see. Andrew Bailey also will talk about the atrocities that have happened to Donald Trump and his lawsuit with Media Matters. Once again, there is nobody, in my humble opinion, who is as popular as an attorney general than Andrew Bailey. Now, I have friends who support Will Scharf, and Will Scharf is a friend of the show as well. He's also running for attorney general, and it's very interesting at how popular these guys are. As I said, Will's been a part of the Trump lawyer, quote, campaign, the team, but it's not his time.
Right.
It's nobody. Andrew Bailey is rocking it as good as anybody in America right now. And he has done it from day one. Mm-hmm. And we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. And that's why we love Andrew Bailey.
Yeah. He came out the door running. It was, I don't think I've ever seen any politician, so to speak, literally come out and make an effort that was so impactful right away, right out of the gate.
Chris likes the idea that I brought up. He said we could easily refill the Social Security coffers if we stopped all the foreign social programs that we continue to fund. Yep. And of course, Glenn says as we get to the segment that's coming up in a little bit, guys, just follow the science, as we all know. Follow the science. Mm-hmm. Follow the science. Follow the science. Joe, just keep me posted once we get the Attorney General in with the video and sound. That would be fantastic. He's not supposed to come on until until 8:40, but we'll certainly get to that as well. And as we get into things, if anybody has questions for the Attorney General, we'll try to get that in after we ask the questions that we want to ask as well. So we will continue to do that as best as we possibly can. Maybe I get an Andrew Bailey jacket.
Oh, that would be good.
Andrew Bailey's face on the inside of
I would be impressed by that. I'd like to see you wear that for sure.
Oh, of course you would. Your husband could wear one of those as well.
He would wear it. He would wear it.
So if anybody has any questions that are legitimate questions, let us know. We'll try to do the best that we can from that standpoint as well. Also, a very interesting story that I wanted to promote that we'll get in the 9 o'clock hour. The actual boss of the Washington Post had a meeting with their staff members and scolded them Sunday night, fired their executive editor, and he told the staff, this is the best. And with my background in media, and I told you what happens behind the scenes with closed doors and how most people in media newsrooms and producers and people who are deciding stories, for whatever reason, they all wanted to go to news. And they were all mostly coming from liberal ideology. What, you mean there's another ideology? For whatever reason. And I was asked that all the time. Why would you want to be in broadcasting of some sort when there's all liberals? I was like, we need more people running.
That's right.
We need people running to these places to try to be some diamond in the rough, to be that shining light in the midst of darkness, just to offer another side. The Washington Post boss said, you are all going to change how you're doing things because guess what? Nobody's reading you anymore. The boss. And they let that information get out, firing their executive editor. And the other part about that situation, which we'll get into, is the fact that they had staff members and people in higher positions who wanted to wait until after the election before they made the changes. And the Washington Post, this is what I'm telling you. If you don't spend your dollars or spend your time associating with liberal ideology, guess what? You have power, and there's power in numbers. You turn off the TV if they're not doing it. You don't read the publications. You go your own way and you find outlets like we do and the information that we put together. And guess what? You can make a difference and it'll stop that. With that being said, we're ready to talk with our friend, Missouri's Attorney General, Andrew Bailey. Andrew Bailey, good friend of the show. Hey, thanks for taking time with us today, my friend.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on again. Always good to talk to you.
Good interview with Don Jr. You're kind of rocking and rolling all over the place these days. And we figure at this point in time, more Andrew Bailey is better than less Andrew Bailey.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was good to talk to Don Jr. and, talk through what we're seeing. Look, this lawfare against President Trump, and I would encourage, certainly your show has talked about this and captured this data point, but I think it's important for the American public and certainly Missourians to understand that this lawfare is not individual cases and individual instances of bad behavior. It is a coordinated, strategic campaign to interfere with the 2024 election. The left hates President Trump because he started an America First movement, and they hate President Trump more than they love their own country. And so they've got to destroy President Trump and take him off the ballot, and they will use every tool in their arsenal to do that, even when it requires bending and breaking the rules. Certainly we saw that in the case in Manhattan with Alvin Bragg prosecuting President Trump. We know there's collusion with Biden's Department of Justice when Biden deploys his third-ranking official from the DOJ, Matthew Colangelo, to assist Alvin Bragg at the trial court level prosecution. Federal prosecutors leaving their high-paying jobs to go work for the state prosecutor in order to obtain this illicit witch hunt conviction. And my office has actually filed an investigation against the DOJ to expose this level of collusion between Biden's crooked DOJ and the state level prosecutors. I think it undermines the credibility of the illegal conviction. We already knew it was bunk, but I also think it exposes the prosecutors to enormous liability, not only on their professional licensure, but civil liability for violating President Trump's civil rights and potentially criminal liability. At some point, it'll be time to prosecute the prosecutors. This is an important first step in exposing this for what it is.
Talking with Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, you kind of knew they were going to find him guilty, didn't you? Didn't you know? I've been talking about this since before. There's no way they're going through the circus and not finding him guilty. Even if the jury wasn't corrupted, the judge was going to make sure that he did everything to put parameters on those people where they had no choice but to find him guilty.
Yeah, Vic, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at the start of the trial, the gag order. The gag order is, first of all, there's a presumption, a constitutional presumption against gag orders because they inherently violate our First Amendment right to free speech. There should be heightened scrutiny of putting a gag order on a presidential candidate in a presidential election year. That's absurd. It never should have stood. That's why my office filed litigation to try to get it removed because it was unconstitutional, illegal to begin with. But think about the purpose behind a gag order. It's to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial. Well, that's the defendant's right. And if the defendant wants to waive that right, he should be able to do so. If President Trump wants to expose himself to potential liability for talking about his trial, the judge shouldn't stop him. So the gag order at the very outset of this case was illegal and unconstitutional. Let's fast forward to the end of the case where the judge says that the jury doesn't get to have the jury instructions with them during deliberations. How can they apply facts to law if they can't see the law, especially when you have 34 counts, many of which are in co-ate liability? Let's talk about the fact that the judge deprived President Trump of his Sixth Amendment right to jury unanimity as to the elements of the offense, when the judge said that the predicate offense can be anything that's a grab bag of ideas, essentially turning the jury into a roving commission free to roam through the facts and attach liability wherever they please, untethered from the law. I mean, this whole thing was a sham witch hunt prosecution that was rigged, and shame on the judiciary for being in lockstep with these illicitly motivated prosecutors.
Well, and do you think, Andrew Bailey, that Donald Trump does any jail time?
I mean, unfortunately, I believe that Alvin Bragg will go argue that he should. Sentencing is going to be in July unless there's a continuance. But, this is typically the sort of crime when you've got somebody that doesn't have a criminal history, that doesn't have a violent past. It's not a crime of violence. It's, at worst. And again, I don't concede that a crime was committed. The facts and the law did not align to establish criminal liability. They had to bend the facts, bend the law, and infer facts to obtain an illicit conviction. But even if this were a legally valid conviction, okay, so there was some fraud in some documents. That's not typically that's not something anyone would go to prison for. But I guarantee Alvin Bragg's going to show up and argue that he should go to prison. He should be allowed to file an appeal bond that would keep him out and free during the pendency of an appeal. But look, again, the goal here was never to actually send President Trump to prison. Alvin Bragg, what he wanted to do was take President Trump off the campaign trail and then drop a poison pill in a well that we'll be drawing water from the next 18 to 24 months, to the extent President Trump is reelected, which we anticipate he will be. This appeal will undermine the first year or two of his second term and his administration. So Alvin Bragg was successful in, again, breaking the rules to obtain an illicit, illegal witch hunt conviction.
Yeah, it's one thing that it made us sick. I was expecting it. And of course, we just see Donald Trump continue to rock and roll. We continue to see his numbers go high. And fortunately, there are attorney generals in the country right now, like yourself. I don't know of another attorney general, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke because you're on our show. I don't know anybody else in America who's trying to do more and doing more than you are right now. You talk it, but you're walking it. Specifically when it comes to the pandering of America for votes, when it comes to the 2024 election and Joe Biden, I want to take care of student debt for younger people and anybody who's had to deal with this. Can you please let people know what you're doing? At least you're not standing back here in the state of Missouri when it comes to standing up for taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to let Joe Biden saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt. This is personal to me. I paid for my school in blood, sweat, and tears and service in the United States Army. It was a privilege to get to do that. And I know several people that worked hard to pay their way through college or didn't go to college because they had to go get jobs and actually earn a living. And now President Biden's trying to redistribute over $500 billion of wealth in this country with no explicit congressional authority, no statutory basis, no text in law to authorize him to do that. We put a stop to it once before. We know that Congress has the power of the purse under our constitutional structure, not the president. And this time last year, the United States Supreme Court handed down a decision saying that if Congress authorized the president to redistribute $500 billion in debt for quote unquote student loan forgiveness, Congress had to speak explicitly. They were not allowed to hide an elephant in a mouse hole, essentially. And so what the president has done is basically defy the will of the United States Supreme Court and use the Higher Education Act of 1965, again, that allows for amendment to repayment terms. Well, the words repayment terms are different than cancellation. And what I submit to you is that there's no working family out there, or small business owner, who believes there's such thing as debt cancellation. That's not a thing. Somebody's paying that off. The law doesn't allow it. Congress hasn't authorized it. Congress has the power of the purse. And so this is an illegal attempt, unconstitutional attempt of President Biden to buy votes. But it's the flip side of the same coin we were previously discussing. The lawfare against Trump is the offensive side of that coin, where President Biden and the left are doing everything they can to eliminate political competition, popular political opponent, President Trump. And on the other side, they're trying to buy votes because they see their poll numbers plummeting amongst the key demographic.
But can you stop that with a lawsuit?
Absolutely. We put a stop to it once before. In fact, in February of 2023, I sat at council table representing the state of Missouri in the first student loan repayment case. We won that case in June. We are now in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri. And just yesterday, my attorneys marched into court and argued in favor of an injunction against President Biden's unconstitutional, illegal attempt to buy votes. And again, the harm here is that he's trying to saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt to north of $40 million in costs to Missouri taxpayers. We can't let that happen. That's why this lawsuit is so important.
Well, and why do you think more attorney generals across the United States are not doing what you're doing? I see people right now that are listening to our show are saying we are so blessed to have Andrew Bailey in our own backyard. Why are other people not doing what you're doing?
You know, that's a very good question. I'm new at this politics stuff, right? I mean, I've only been on this job for about 18 months. And I'll tell you this much. I want to be the attorney general because I care about this state. I grew up in Missouri. This is home. This is where I'm raising my kids. And I want them to enjoy the same freedom, safety, and prosperity that I grew up with. And this is the show me state. Results matter. Other politicians like to talk a big game. I get to work. And so I can't answer for other people, but I'll tell you, as long as I'm AG, we're going to fight and win and deliver enormous wins for the people of this state.
You know, and as we've said this before, my daughter, Heather Hicks, works in your office, and everything you just said, she would concur. She said you literally came in just like correcting things, doing things, both for the employees and for the state of Missouri. She's like, he is actually doing everything he says he's doing.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I have a great staff. We have some great folks that work here at the Missouri Attorney General's office. We've got 5 regional offices, close to 300 employees. That's a large organization. Mm-hmm. You know, I managed people when I was a captain in the Army. And at one point I was in a company command, had 13 platoons, 300 soldiers during a 15-month deployment to Iraq. So I have real leadership and management experiences that I bring with me to the Attorney General's office. And I think those are valuable leadership and life lessons that I've learned. And I think they've helped us marshal resources here at the AG's office to not only support our staff, but fulfill our mission to protect the people of the state of Missouri and our constitutional rights.
Andrew, if you could talk a little bit about the update with the Media Matters situation that's going on. You've addressed this before with us.
Yeah, and again, I think this is an issue that we have to go back and frame for what it is. Media Matters is a radical, progressive, tyrannical group masquerading as a not-for-profit. They call themselves a media watchdog, but really what they are is a market manipulator who use corporate pressure campaigns to try to bully conservatives out of the free, fair, and open marketplace of ideas. And in this instance, they've solicited contributions and then converted those contributions in order to go on X, formerly known as Twitter, and juxtapose controversial speech next to prominent advertisers to try to bully those advertisers into pulling out of X. Media Matters hates X because they can't control it. They don't want a free, fair, and open marketplace of ideas. They want a controlled marketplace of ideas where only their ideas can be discussed. They want to drive conservative voices from public discourse, and they tried to bully these advertisers and destroy X in an attempt to accomplish that. So we launched an investigation. I'm going to protect Missourians who contributed to Media Matters and make sure they weren't ripped off in this process, make sure that this market manipulation wasn't an antitrust violation. And we had to file a lawsuit against Media Matters to enforce our investigative subpoenas, and we're going to litigate that issue and hold them accountable.
Well, and you know, you're getting ready to run again, and you're also in complete, season to campaign. What could you tell our listeners and anyone listening to this after the fact? Why are you still the number one person for the job?
Well, you don't have to gamble on me. You can see the work we've done over the last 18 months and be proud that Missouri is leading the nation, fighting President Biden on his failed open border policies that are making Missourians less safe. We won the lawsuit to force President Biden to build the border wall. We removed the Soros-backed prosecutor in the city of St. Louis. You think she would have done what Alvin Bragg did? She absolutely would have. That's why we had to remove her, to restore the rule of law and find justice for victims and protect the integrity of our criminal justice system. We've increased criminal prosecution by 133% in 1 year. We shut down the child gender mutilation clinics in the state of Missouri. These are enormous wins. This is transformative conservative change unseen before in an attorney general's office. So I'm proud of the work we've done. I think people can look at it, see we're doing the right things for the right reasons, and we've delivered wins. Again, this is the show me state. Results matter, and we've delivered.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. On a different matter, one of our listeners is saying, do you think anything will happen? Everybody that was watching TV yesterday saw what was happening with I call him Fraudchi. Do you think anything will happen to him legally?
I think absolutely. I think that he has lied. I think he's perjured himself. And I think there are individuals looking for opportunities to expose that and potentially prosecute him for his fraud that he's perpetrated on the American people. He was a sham of a director of that institute. He certainly aided and assisted Chinese in their illicit experimentation that I think led to the outbreak of the pandemic. And every policy decision he made was designed and intended to hurt the American people, not help us. He ushered in an era of COVID tyranny, and I will always fight back against that. Public health is not about the government telling you what to do. If public health officials want to provide information, fine. But those health decisions are individual. We have the liberty to make our own decisions. It's not the government's role or responsibility to make those decisions for us. And I think Dr. Fauci disagrees with me on that. And so he's public enemy number one when it comes to the COVID tyranny that we're going to continue to fight back against.
Have you had time to campaign at all with everything that's going on?
Vic, I'm statewide, man. We're up in Nottoway County one day and then down in Dunklin County the next. We've been to all four corners of this state, spending some time in Southwest Missouri this week. And there are folks that are excited about the work we're doing. We're in St. Louis a lot just because that's the epicenter of so much that goes on in our state. Fighting back against the city of Kansas City's attempt to silence Harrison Butker for the free expression of his religious beliefs. I mean,
thank you for everything you did with that. You stood up quickly and put things in perspective in Kansas City. And I don't know if they fired the employee that released his information, but they certainly reprimanded him after you stood up.
Yeah, and look, there needs to be accountability there in Kansas City, but there also needs to be transparency. And that's why I've demanded documents to ensure that whoever's managing that city's social media account isn't using it to retaliate against people that are freely expressing their sincerely held religious beliefs. That violates not only the individual's constitutional rights, but the Missouri Human Rights Act. And that's the authority I have to fight back. And just because there's been accountability doesn't mean this is over. There still needs to be transparency, and we will continue to pursue that matter to ensure that there's safeguards in place to protect individuals' constitutional rights.
From the chat line, love Andrew Bailey. He has my votes as an Illinois resident. I'm jealous you guys have Andrew Bailey in Missouri. These are all comments that are coming from the chat line.
And people want him cloned. People want Andrew Bailey cloned to do other different jobs around our state.
I'm sure his wife wants him cloned too.
I'm sure.
And his family.
Sure. That's right.
It's like he's all over the place. Also from the chat line, rock on, Andrew. We want to take credit for something that you have that's going on that's really cool. I know you launched this over a month ago, the Bailey Wire. When it comes to a podcast, you started your own podcast because you love being on this show, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, look, we're all living in your shadow, Vic. Honestly, this is one of the greatest podcasts on the air. I'm grateful every time I get to talk to y'all. We wanted to provide a government podcast that gives some behind the scenes and some deeper analysis because I don't get to spend enough time on this kind of format. And so luckily, we've got folks here in my office that have assisted with that. We're publishing the Bailey Wire podcast just to give some behind the scenes glimpse. And it's not always me. There's staff members that come on and talk about our work in criminal prosecution, consumer protection, some of the good blocking and tackling stuff we do to protect Missourians in the everyday work of the office.
I promise you it works. It's also a concept that we're using in business right now too, Andrew, where businesses can separate themselves by going out and talking and having an opportunity to show their expertise, just like you're showing your expertise and teaching people what's actually happening, what you're doing, because a lot of times, people don't hear or know everything that you're doing. They may see a news clip here or an article here, but they don't get the full story. What kind of information are you trying to give when it comes to the podcast? And give us some information how people can watch it and use it.
Yeah, check us out on social media. You can go to ago.mo.gov. That's ago.mo.gov to get a link to the Bailey Wire podcast. And again, one of the objectives here is not only to kind of give a deeper analysis and explanation of the work we're doing fighting and winning to protect Missourians, but also to talk about the resources that we provide. Not only resources to local law enforcement to assist with criminal prosecution at the trial court level. Again, we've just through effective communication, we have increased criminal prosecution by 133% in 1 year. I'm really proud of that number. That's tangible results to fight violent crime on our streets, but also consumer protection. And, if you've got consumer protection issues, you feel like you've been defrauded by predatory business practices, call 1-800-392-8222 or file a complaint online on our website. But again, this podcast explains so many of these resources that we want the public to know about. Those resources exist for the people of the state of Missouri, and we want them to know about them and have access to them and know how to access them.
Wow.
And one of our listeners in response to that is like, Andrew, I have been a huge supporter of yours since day one. Thank you for everything you do. And you have my vote and my family's vote, and you have our full support.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night? Seriously. I mean,
yeah. I still have a 2-year-old. So like yesterday, he was up at 3:45 a.m. And so, I didn't quite get back to sleep after that. But, having this new job and not sleeping is great. I have all this extra time for all this work.
That's
Hey,
a good point.
Do you have enough suits, by the way? Do you need a new suit? If I could hook you up with a guy to get you a suit and give you a lining like the one that I have with the American flag, like a Bailey.
I love it. I'll be in touch. I love that.
I'll see if he can gift you something.
I love it.
That would be
Cancel
great.
this and get you a lining or something, or your face or something in a I don't know. Trump something. Who knows? We'll see what we can do. Hey, on a serious note though, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for what you're doing for Missouri. I know you have a tough job to do. Plus, you're in the middle of a campaign. Plus, you're a family man. Thank you for all of the support you've given this show from the get-go as well, and making time for us because you're all over the place. You do national podcasts. You do your own podcast. You have to be tired from beating Biden's ass literally on a monthly basis on top of everything, and you still find time for us. Thanks for your time, Mr. Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. Always a privilege, a humbling privilege to get to be on your show and to get to talk and to serve in this capacity. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Talk soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Don't be surprised if I contact your people and we find a suit that we get you.
I'll look forward to it.
All right, Andrew Bailey.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Missouri's Attorney General. Always have a lot of fun with him. The other thing about Andrew is he's just a good guy.
Yeah. You don't ever hear anything bad about him. You just don't.
Just a good freaking guy.
Yes.
And we have a lot of really good people in the state of Missouri.
We sure do. Missouri's rocks.
And it's led by Andrew Bailey. Chris says, Bailey, make Missouri great again.
Yeah.
The MMGA hat.
Absolutely.
For Andrew Bailey. Pam says, thank you, AG Bailey. You have our vote. Keep up the great work. Tanya, Trump is the most important thing, including paper ballots only in all Missouri counters. And of course, we usually catch up with Andrew every month or every 6 weeks. So we'll get him back on and then we'll see whatever we have there. And Heather said, I didn't see the lining as I came into the show. Yeah. I've worn this jacket several times.
You haven't. I guess I just never noticed
I've just
the
never
lining.
shown. I've shown it a lot. So
yeah.
Paul says could be a tough race for Attorney General of Missouri. It could be. You know, we've had his competitor, Will Scharf, on.
We sure have.
Who has done a lot of interviews. By the way, we'll get to in a second. We like Will Scharf. And
We do.
Will Scharf has a lot of support. I don't know if right now is the best time to be running, but you know what? Yeah, I'm not in politics. I just know that Andrew Bailey has taken the flag and run with it.
And that's how I feel about it too, because both of these men they really are. And I'm always for switching it up and having someone new come in, but Andrew's not even been there that long. Just like he was saying, it's been 18 months and he's done so much. I hate to see the momentum of what he's doing with somebody coming in. Not that Will Scharf can't come in and kick ass too. I'm not saying that, because they're both great candidates. And that's the thing with the state of Missouri that I wish all the other states, we have a lot of other people that were listening on the chat line saying that they wish they had people like the people we have in Missouri. People said they love hearing it. You know, they're not even from Missouri and they love hearing somebody like Andrew Bailey coming and kicking ass and telling the truth. It would just be great if all over the United States, they could have the people that we have. I mean, when you think everybody that's running for the things that are running in the state of Missouri, they're almost all really good. And you look at the rest of the United States and there's some states nobody good is running.
Yeah, Glenn says stick with Bailey. He has done amazing to this point in time. Greg says we have been very lucky to have 3 great attorney generals in a row as well.
That is very true. We had Eric Schmidt before, and that's really good. And
Josh Hawley,
who,
by the way, I mean,
just kicking ass.
We showed the picture. Josh Hawley was Andrew Bailey's law teacher.
Yes.
At the University of Missouri.
That says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, I'm sure there's.
And they're great friends.
They are, and so that's kind of great.
And I'm not surprised.
No.
Not surprised at all.
Love it.
Yeah, we do. We got to get a cough button somehow. I know. I'm sorry to cough into the mic.
I know. I've done that earlier this week too, or last week, I should say.
But nothing that Andrew Bailey said surprised me. I'm grateful for what he's doing. Oh no, I think I'm good. Then I'll be like.
I know. I did that, but I had to.
I can't do that on the mic. I can do it when we're not on the mic.
Right.
I appreciate it though. This is canceled. So anyway, Andrew Bailey, thank you so much for taking time to join us today, covering the topics. I haven't had a chance to check out the Bailey Wire yet. I did know that he had it going on, so we'll have to check it out. If you see it, Joe, see if you see something that you use some help with. Maybe we could offer some expertise, unless it's a a terrific production, which I bet it is if he's in charge of it. We'll
That's
have to
right.
wait and see.
Well, just the quality when he comes on our show, the quality of his video
Oh yeah,
too
his shots
is
immaculate. Yeah.
fantastic. Some people, they struggle
Yeah.
with their shot. He
Yeah,
doesn't.
he knows
It's
what he's
great.
doing.
Yeah, he does.
Oh no, they get it. I was hoping that they needed some help.
Yeah,
Then we could help them out.
that's right.
Well, I
But-
did notice that it's audio format only, I believe, is his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe his podcast is audio format only.
Okay, well, maybe we could try to help out somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do something for him.
hmm
Pam says, I live.
Love. Should say
She
I
meant love.
Mhm.
Our great representatives and are thankful that we live in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, it really is a great state, and it's very underrated. It's very. I know when we went on vacation, we went this was about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and we were driving all around the country, and we start to come into southern Missouri, and my oldest goes, "Oh my gosh!" He just woke up. He goes, "What state is this?" I said, "Missouri," and then as we're going, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I just don't even give Missouri the credit that Missouri deserves as being such a great state."
This is cancelthisshow.com. I want to give special thanks to our advertisers, Complete Auto Body Repair. Once again, that is Complete Auto Body Repair. You can find them at completeab.com, completeab.com. You can also give them a call at 314-731-7999. That's 314-731-7999 throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area, 5 locations. They fix everything with your car from A to Z. And when you tell them that you heard about them on Cancel This, I promise you they'll take extra good care of you. And you know what? It helps us. It helps us because they advertise this show. And when you do business with them, they continue to advertise with us. It helps us out. It's a way that if you're going to be spending money in that arena, please check them out before you go anywhere else. At least check them out. Get a quote. We know so many people who've had great success at Complete Auto Body. Please check them out. Also, Attorney David Gregory. Hey, if you've been in an accident of any kind, car accident, involved in a trucking accident somehow, some way, personal injury of any kind, also when it comes to any sort of workers, give Dave a call, 314-619-4230. If you tell him or mention the words Cancel This, he's going to lessen your fees big time. Because once again, he's advertising with this show. He's the super conservative attorney. That doesn't mean you have to be conservative to go with him. It just means he's not afraid to talk about who he is. He's about getting the most for you when you've been injured or you've been in an accident. How do I know? Why do I know that he's great? Because I used him twice. And it blew my mind how much better he was than everybody else. He's a former state rep. He's licensed in 7 states. He wrote many of the laws that are a part of what goes into this in the state of Missouri when it comes to situations of accidents. And he's also running for state senate as well right now. And by all indications is going to win that as well. He will take your call. There's a reason why 2 of the biggest names throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area in the Midwest use Dave. They bring it in because they have a bigger, and then they use Dave. That's because Dave is the best. I don't care who you go with. Just give Dave a call before you do anything. Also, if you're looking to rent any sort of equipment, you don't want to buy it, or you have some items you think, hey, maybe people want to use that. Maybe people want to rent this. Go to weequipusa.com. Paige and her company have a tremendous, very unique situation. You go to WeQuip USA, you can rent items right off their site. They rent spaces, they promote businesses, they do a lot. Check them out at weequipusa.com. And of course, our good friends at Winty's. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, great time, great food, great service. You can't go wrong. And they're big supporters of this show. They support everything that we have done and other shows here throughout the Renew Media Network. They also have Winty's at Roadhouse, the Roadhouse Winty's in Defiance, Missouri, out in wine country, packed 3 straight weekends. And there's a reason why. And they continue to ask people to be patient as they figure out their serving times. And it was a brand new place. It's huge. They redid everything. We are grateful for the Winty support as well that we get. This is cancelthisshow.com. Of course, check out our advertisers on our partners page. We also have a donate button. If you appreciate what we do, our free speech, any donations help us continue to do what we do here because it's not easy and it's not cheap. So if you've donated in the past anything, we are grateful. And of course, if you can donate now, we are grateful for that as well. If you want to be a part of our mission for free speech around what we're doing and getting the word out, when it comes to the conservative ideas regarding truth and, of course, what happened with Donald Trump. Back to the chat lines, the People's Platform. Robert says, between now and the election, all you are going to hear is Trump is a convicted felon.
For sure.
We told you this was coming because Alex Soros, the son of George Soros, was pushing that and pushing it out all over the place. Also, what happened yesterday for the first time, Joe Biden referred to Donald Trump as a convicted felon. That is that's a ridiculous thing for him to do. He should have taken the high road. He did not, because he's getting crushed in the polls.
That's right.
And we know that the polls are larger for Donald Trump than what they're even saying, especially when it comes to most of these Democratic pollsters who are putting the information out. The president of the United States called Trump a convicted felon. It rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like it just felt very white trash to me. Very not needed. It's like that low blow where it's all been coordinated.
Biden is white trash.
Well, I know.
I mean, he is. I don't know why you expected him to be anything less, even though it's like a gut-wrenching thing to hear it, so to speak. I expected nothing less from Sleepy Joe. That's what the left does. I've noticed that even on local levels and this and that and state levels, the Democrats or people that are Republicans posing as Democrats love to call conservative patriots felons, even when they're not. It's the weirdest thing. It really is. That's like their new buzzword, is to try to call people criminals or felons before the election so that it takes some sort of stigma on that person. So a middle of the road voter might go, okay, I'm just not going to vote for that one because that one maybe has been in trouble with the law. For the low information voters is why they're doing that.
Well, it's, and I bring that up because of what we just heard Robert say. It's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
Glenn says white trash takes showers with their preteen and teen daughter.
That's right.
As we already know what happened from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get it. We totally get it.
We sure do.
So Joe Biden, he did it. I was wondering how long it would take. And then, of course, you're going to continue to hear people referred to that as well. Also, not sure if this is true, but I saw a report yesterday that Donald Trump's appeal will go to a court. It's the first court where it's all African-American women.
Yeah, I saw that too.
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? I don't know. They're all Democrats. I can tell you that much.
Well, and from all the Black people that we've had on the show, many of them that were men, well, and even Nicole Jenkins, that was a female, said in the Black culture right now, it's the men that are turning to like Donald Trump, and the women still are holding out for the Democrat Party. So if you have, and this is going from Black people that we've talked to, that if it's all Black women that they're Democrats, they're going to want to crucify Donald Trump. They're not going to not help him with his appeal.
Something else that's coming from the chat line. I did see this yesterday as well, Megan. And now Joe Biden is talking about needing to secure the border. He has said many times the border is secure. It's fine. There are no issues. And now guess what he's talking about? We need to secure the border.
Of course.
Election is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we want to pay for student debt. Election is coming.
That's right.
Now we want to secure the border. Oh yeah, Donald Trump is a convicted felon because he can't win on policy.
That's right.
Hey, I think it's great if Joe Biden legitimately went down and secured the border right now, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. It's all talk.
It's all talk. It's all talk. He's not going to do anything. And he's trying to say that he's going to bring back policies that Donald Trump did. Like right away when Joe Biden came in, he did all these executive orders. And now he's trying to kind of change back one of the executive orders to help with the border. I agree with you, Vic. This is all just election nonsense. He's not going to do anything. There's still going to be people flooding our border.
So we want you just to be careful, know what's happening, and know what's going on. And that's what we continue to try to do here. Okay. Yesterday, Dr. Fauci, although I agree with what MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, said, she didn't call him a doctor at first. And because he's really, he doesn't deserve the title.
He doesn't deserve that.
But he got lambasted.
I loved that so much.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey just joined us. And he said, you asked him the question, Lizzie,
Mm-hmm.
can he be prosecuted? He's like, absolutely he can.
Yeah.
we had so much to get to. I wanted to find out exactly how and when that could happen. Did you hear how Andrew Bailey said that could happen? Because I didn't.
He did, and he was just talking about there's ways through the court system that it can be done. I didn't get the impression from him that they were going to do it, but that it absolutely can be done and it should be done. And there were some legal terms that are slipping my mind right now that Andrew Bailey said it absolutely could and should be done. But that being said, do we really think it's going to happen?
No, I don't.
I don't either, Vic. I think it should. I agree with Andrew Bailey. There's all sorts of ways that it could be done, but I don't believe he's an elite. And he's seen as a god, and he's the highest paid federal employee that has ever been paid in America. He's going to get by with unaliving people and doing all the terrible things he did to our small children. But even though that's the case, and I don't think anything happens to him, I hope I'm wrong though, what people said to him yesterday were things that I wanted to say too. So it did make me feel a little bit better.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they only get about 5 minutes, I think, right? Isn't it?
Not long.
They don't get much time.
Mm-hmm.
Bendy says Fauci will get away with everything. We already know that.
Yeah.
I think he will as well. But it was still, it was satisfying.
It was
for
satisfying
me to see clips. I didn't sit there and watch. I didn't have the time, but I was able to go back and see some. I just feel as if Marjorie Taylor Greene did the best job at really showing you and showing the country who Anthony Fauci is, who he was, and why he was such an evil, deviant man during COVID and still is. Susan says Reagan appointed him even due to the AIDS epidemic. Yes. And I reminded people yesterday, go back and do some research when it comes to Fauci's involvement with AIDS.
That's right.
And pushing that forward. I can't say, if you go back and look in the 80s, and the gay community and people who were suffering with AIDS, they were totally against Fauci.
Yeah, totally. But people forget that.
And his actions on it. But here's Marjorie Taylor Greene from yesterday in a video cut up of everything that she was talking about during the situation with Fauci. She was amazing. And Joe will play that video for you now.
Is this one?
Yep, this is the one.
Okay.
Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent.
Oh,
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent. You confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up as
say
you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science. And making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. That man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked and he belongs in
Don't let him
prison.
suspend.
Here you are without your mask, where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science here, your science is displayed perfectly in this picture where children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science, your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children Children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Guilty.
Oh, that was so good. And when I watched her yesterday, I love the word that you used, Vic. It was so satisfying because when they showed that picture of that little boy, that preschool teacher was forcing a mask on that child because somebody told her to, is so freaking infuriating. And at that time, I did not own my preschool. I just sold it. But the man I sold it to, he is out of business because he forced masks on children's face. So if you can't hear my anger to that, and then beagles, what did those beagles ever do to you, Dr. Fauci? What did they ever do to you? I mean, he is evil, evil, evil. And I thought she killed it. And the only person that could rebuttal was this mealy mouth guy. I forgot his name. And he's like, well, I think you're a hero, Mr. Fauci. I think you're a hero and you did do science. And I thought, you people are just as evil as Fauci if you're defending him. It was so good yesterday. I don't think anything's going to happen to him, but how she went after him was gold, was pure gold.
She had her best moment as a politician yesterday. There is no question.
Mm-hmm.
She is showing true leadership for people who have been upset with her or not thought that she was politically savvy, like myself in previous years. She owned the moment yesterday.
Yeah, she did.
It's not about what you've done in the past. It's about what you're doing now, and it's about what you're doing in the future.
That's right.
And she was stunning.
Stunning.
Anybody can give an opinion, but you have to have evidence.
Yes.
And facts and back it up. And not only did she have evidence and facts, she did what she did, and she did it with a passion.
Yes.
It was amazing. Nobody can take that away. What a moment for her.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. She
And
represented so many of us right now.
that's the positivity of it, because she put that little man, that evil little elf, that evil little liberal elf who has accepted praise and honor and money in the midst of a catastrophic situation. Oh, don't look at me. I'm just Dr. Fauci. And she put him and showed, I can't even call him a dog because dogs are wonderful.
Dogs are wonderful. He's not a dog. He wants to hurt dogs, though.
I became a bigger fan of MTG yesterday for what she did and putting that man in his place. Congratulations, MTG. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you did what you had to do.
It's the best thing she's done yet. And so many of our listeners love her anyway. And it brought to my attention that right now she's being crucified by all different sorts of people, but probably people that love their masks on X right now. She's being chewed up. How in the world if you truly listened to this yesterday, and I tried to watch all of it, and there was nothing that she said that could be misconstrued and wasn't a fact. Nothing. She said everything that me as a mama was watching our children have to go through or not go through or be ostracized if they stood up. For many of us that have grandchildren now, they're almost 2. If you tried to put a mask on her face now, you would have a grandma come out of the seat and punch you in the face. Literally, I've never punched anyone, but you put a mask on my kid now, you're going to be punched in the face.
Kathy says, I love her passion. I agree.
Me too. She's fantastic.
Because this was not just, oh, I'm a politician, I'm doing my job. This was about trying to protect and make sure that nothing like this ever happens again. This is what I call remembering the scorecard.
Yes.
This is what I call, we are not going to let you get away with this, even if it's 3-4 years after the fact.
That's right.
Dr. Rand Paul was also good yesterday.
He sure was.
Very good. Now, Joe, this is the video you popped up first. Rand Paul was terrific. Or excuse me, this was Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan. Rand Paul was terrific as well. But I wanted you to hear Jim Jordan, because Jim Jordan is another man who was really, really, really good yesterday. And this, of course, Joe, was the video. No, this is Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan was terrific. And he's been terrific, just like Rand Paul and like MTG, doing everything that they need to do. Paula says the Democrats are only mad at her because she took away their truth.
That's right.
Michelle says, I feel like she had always been like they took away her truth. She's always been very brutally honest. Listen to Jim Jordan break down information yesterday when Fauci dude was sitting there like the little weasel he is.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Time's expired. Now recognize Mr. Jordan from Ohio for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Doctor, why was it so important that the virus not have started in a lab?
We don't know where it started, and that's the reason why I keep an open mind. So I don't know what you mean by why was it so important. It wasn't important.
Well, you still don't know where it started? The guys you gave money to figured it out in 3 days.
No.
Mr. Anderson said on January 31st, 2020, virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory. The very next day, Dr. Gary said, I don't know how this happens in nature. It'd be easy to do in a lab. And then 3 days later, Shazam, they switch and say it has to be nature. So they figured it out in 3 days, but you still don't know?
No, in fact, if you look at what they were saying, Congressman Jordan, they were saying that it was not a manufactured virus. It still could have evolved out of a lab.
Let me read something
Why?
here.
They're not incompatible.
In our study on the censorship of the Biden administration working with big tech, I want to read you a WhatsApp message from Mark Zuckerberg. Can we include that the White House put pressure on us to censor the lab leak theory? So this is a communication on July 16th, 2021. Nick Clegg, Joel Kaplan, Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg. They're certainly feeling the pressure to downplay any lab leak theory and go with the natural origin theory.
Is there a question there?
One's coming. Here's another email to Mark Zuckerberg. It says, subject line, COVID misinformation, Wuhan lab leak theory. In response to continued public pressure and tense conversations with the new administration, we started removing 5 COVID claims, including the lab leak theory. Mr. Zuckerberg responds, this seems like a good reminder that when we compromise our standards due to pressure from an administration in either direction, we often later regret it. Why was it so important the virus not have started in a lab?
Wasn't so important that the virus not. We don't know. We know
it was important to someone in the Biden administration, so much so that the top people at Meta, the top people at Facebook are asking, why are we getting all this pressure to downplay the lab leak theory? And we have an email from June of the same year, June 4th, 2021, saying the same thing. It was certainly important to somebody.
Well, what does that got to do with me?
I'm asking you because you're the expert on the coronavirus. I'm saying why was the administration so pushing not to have the lab leak theory as something that was viable?
I can answer that. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
You kept an open mind. Dr. Fauci, open mind.
That is correct.
What happened in those 3 days? Why did Dr. Anderson and Mr. Anderson and Dr. Gary, why did they change their mind in 180 degrees? Because what Christian Anderson says 3 days later, after he said virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory, 3 days later he says the main crackpot theories going around at the moment relate to this virus being somehow engineered, and that is demonstrably false. How did they figure all that out in 3 days, Dr. Fauci?
You can do that.
Still have an open mind.
Well, what they did is that they testified before this committee. What they did, they went back and looked at the sequences and realized that their initial concern was unfounded about that, and it did not look at all like it was manufactured. But as they said in their paper, even though they feel it was more likely—
3 days, they figured it out.
That's exactly. You could do that in 3 days. You can scan sequences in a day. You don't need 3 days.
Okay, who's Robert Redfield?
The former director.
This
of
is
the
really
CDC.
good.
Dr. Redfield, right? And he was also in the coronavirus task force. Is that accurate?
He was a member of the coronavirus task force.
And here's what he said to this committee. He said, Redfield said that Fauci and Collins left him out because Redfield suspected that coronavirus had leaked from the Chinese lab. Is that accurate?
Well, he said that, but that's not true.
You're
That
saying
is incorrect, Congressman.
Dr. Redfield's lying to the committee when he sat right where you sat?
When he said that I kept him out, that is an incorrect statement. The roster who was on the phone
was Dr. Redfield in that conference call on February 1st when you had Mr. Anderson and Dr. Gary on that call?
He was not. And the conference call was put together by Jeremy Farrar. So no one kept him out. He said he was kept out because
Did U.S. tax dollars...
You want me to answer the question?
Yeah, I would just wonder why he wasn't on the call. It seems to me the head of CDC, part of the coronavirus task force, which was formed 2 days prior to that call, would have been on the call.
Well, the call was arranged by Jeremy Farrar. You should ask him.
Okay. Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
I'm sorry. What was?
Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
Yes, of course. It was a subaward to the Wuhan Institute.
And who approved that award?
You
Excuse
did.
me?
And who approved that award? What agency approved that award?
National Institute of
That's
Allergy
right.
and Infectious Diseases.
which
Your
Dr.
agency
Hart-
approved
Which,
that, right?
yeah.
Yes, it did. After
Did that have anything to do with this downplaying of the lab leak theory?
no,
Nothing to do with it.
nothing.
What do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
Well, look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
All right, I yield back.
Okay, Dr. Fauci, as you hear him right there talking.
Unbelievable. Did you notice that every time he was getting ready to lie, he'd be like, I can't hear you. What did you say again? And he would hem-haw lie, and you knew a lie was coming after that. And he was willing to throw anyone else under the bus but himself. And we all know that he did not have an open mind. All he had was an open pocketbook to his $400,000 a year salary by us. We paid for his salary along with Big Pharma. I mean, come on, Fauci, you are the biggest crock of a liar.
We know he's a liar, and he's getting exposed right now. And
Yes.
this is, as I said, it's satisfying to see.
Very.
It doesn't bring back people. It doesn't bring back the time wasted, the time that people suffered.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is a little gratifying for us to be able to say, you know what, you can't trust the government.
You can't.
And then you had the Biden administration putting pressure on social media to stop actual evidence and stories from showing. And by the way, they weren't asking, it has come to a point in time where even the CDC, and I can't remember who else it was, said that it is more likely that this was started in a lab than it just started from nowhere.
That's right. Even the CDC, who is a corrupt agency too, they at least admitted this was more than likely done in a lab. And the thing that I think that infuriates so many people, including myself, if you're paid $400,000 a year and you're so great at your job and you can't find out where this was recreated, come on, we are not stupid. We know exactly what you did. And if you research it at all, you know that before the 2016 election, him and little Barry Obama both went to the Wuhan lab. Why were they both there together just right before the election? They have been planning to do things to us. They just didn't do it in 2016 because they thought they had it in the bag with Hillary. Okay, so it didn't work in 2016. You knew damn well it was going to happen in 2020. They had planned this. It's all election interference, just like what they're doing to Donald Trump now. So if anybody thinks anything otherwise, you're not looking deep enough.
And it's well said, Lizzie, because if Donald Trump is president, he said he would allow an investigation to go back into it.
Absolutely.
But if you take time and you look at the facts and you look at the evidence,
Mm-hmm.
something should be done with Dr. Fauci.
100%. 100%. Tucker Carlson did the Beagle story a while back. I mean, it was quite a while ago, and some of the people on our chat line hadn't seen it. What that man authorized and is involved in. I mean, look at look at what's her name? Who was the lady?
All aided by the Biden administration.
Yes, all of it. And Obama, don't forget, he's still involved in this. And if you are a kind of an evil person that can do the things to beagles or to another living creature like that, look at those poor little beagles. What kind of evil are you? And if so, of course, you look at people that are serial killers and you look at people that are some sort of a psychotic psychopath, they were messing with animals first. So if they're going to do those kind of things to dogs and cats, they have no trouble then murdering people.
Another story that just came down from the chat line. We appreciate it. Hunter Biden owes his ex-wife $2.9 million in alimony, and she is set to testify. Yes, those could be some fireworks coming. It was
For
reported
sure.
yesterday, and we said on the show yesterday, it could be as high as $5 million when it came to unpaid child support. So who knows what's going to happen? Kathleen says, yes, I care about the Beagles. She's like, but this was a global
She's
massacre.
absolutely
And
right.
of course,
She's
it was
absolutely right.
with everything that was happening and going down. They still test on monkeys. These are some of the things that are going on in this country. It's all a sad state of affairs, but it can't be stopped when it comes to what needs to be done to Dr. Fauci and just bringing more and more bringing more attention to the story so that it doesn't fade. As Chris says, just because we can't bring back the people or the time that was lost back doesn't mean all the people like Fraudchi and many others shouldn't pay dearly for their actions.
I agree.
We had more people perish because of widespread actions than what happened in World War II, and we had a Nuremberg trial over that.
Isn't that the truth? And that is very well said, Chris. And also, this played yesterday. And so unless that part was being suppressed on liberal news, why are not the feminazis and the animal rights activists not coming out unglued at what Fauci has done to animals? And I'm not trying to make this about animals, because I agree with Kathleen. The bigger problem is a global massacre. But why are not the Democrats coming out? They don't care about people. You can kill your own baby, but they sure care about dogs. Why aren't they upset about that?
Yeah, where's PETA?
Where's PETA? Where are these people? Because they don't care about the baby in your belly. They just don't. But they sure care about the cute little doggies that they buy all these special little things for, and cute little cute little bows on their hair. Where are they? They're silent. So that lets you, if you never knew this before, it is all a game. These people don't care. It's just all about politics. All of it.
So speaking of politics, the Hunter Biden trial still going on. It's people wonder, okay, is anything going to happen to Fauci? Is anything going to happen to Hunter Biden?
No.
Joe Biden has lied about it all. And then we also have these situations where Joe Biden is going to come out today and say, oh, I want to stop the border. His polling is terrible, especially for a president that's already an incumbent. And now he's trying to go to the border because his polling on the border is his worst polling on what's happening with the border. So today he is going to issue executive actions. Oh, really? Oh, now you're going to issue. We're not clear exactly what yet, but allegedly executive actions on the border, that he's tough on the border so that mainstream media can start to push that information out. Basically, taking Donald Trump's stance. Now, once again, we want our border safe and secure ASAP, but not under this bullshit of, oh yeah, we care, because we know he doesn't care, because nothing has been done. And the millions, and I repeat, millions upon millions and millions of illegals that have come into this country. People have to get loud. They have to stand up against everything that has come down, according to Midnight Sun. I agree 100% with everything that is happening. Becoming an addict is not his fault. I'm talking about Hunter as well.
Right. And that's what they're saying. A lot of times they're making this all about the addiction, that the poor little son is an addict. Okay, I can feel for anyone that has a child that's an addict. That being said, there's still consequences to your actions, even if you're under any sort of drug whatsoever. And people are forgetting that it's also illegal to do the cocaine that he was doing. President Trump did a lot less, and yet they're not even focusing on his cocaine because, poor little Hunter had an addiction. Okay. There's still consequences to your action, little addiction boy.
Well, that trial's going on. We have people who are upset about the situation with Fauci, and with good reason to be. And then, of course, this all just goes to show the Biden crime syndicate family. Biden allowed Hunter to be messing, and I say messing, with international affairs while he was a drug-infested, sex addict, coke addict, messed up dude. And I'm telling you, all the people I know that do drugs or have done coke or whatever, they don't think straight. They don't.
That's right.
They don't.
They don't.
They're all over the place.
Yes, they're not making good choices. And even though it's not your fault that they're an addict, their consequences hurt people. And the cocaine he was taking is still illegal, by the way.
There's no such thing as a responsible coke addict, and if there is, it's extremely rare, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that's extremely rare.
So with that being said, thanks to Benny Johnson, I saw this morning, newly released. Here's an audio from Joe Biden. This is from 2018. Joe Biden telling Hunter to get some help, literally telling his son to get some help 3 days after he was lying about his drug addiction on his gun form, which is what the trial's all about. This is the Biden family.
Hey, it's Dad again. I'm down at Newport News, Virginia. It's about 4 o'clock. Just call and check. Just text me or something to let me know you're okay? I love you. It's Dad. I called to tell you I love you. I love you more than the whole world, pal.
Well, that explains
Get
it.
some help. I don't know what to do. I know you don't either. But I'm here, no matter what you need. No matter what you need, I love you.
So he knew.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was going on, and yet publicly he's lied about it.
That's right.
And this is Hunter Biden lying about it too. This sound allegedly was released in 2020 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all just very, very sickening. All the lies, all the cover-ups, the Biden crime syndicate family, and then you have Hunter dealing with China and dealing with Ukraine, payments coming in all over the place to brothers, family members. And of course, it was reaching a high fever pitch, as I said yesterday, until October 7th, when all of a sudden the attack with Israel occurred.
Correct.
And then interesting, all of a sudden we're not hearing from information on this anymore.
That's right.
Hunter is a symptom of the Biden crime syndicate, according to Kathleen as well, and I couldn't agree anymore.
That's right. Kathleen is exactly right. And I agree with you about the October 7th. It was really getting heated during that period of time. And, forgive me for thinking that every single thing that happens is on purpose. And I even think this Ukraine-Russia thing, people call me a conspiracy theorist because of it. This is all planned, maybe not by Biden, but by his handlers, because we know Biden, all he cares about is ice cream. But this is all planned, and they don't care who they hurt to hide what they're doing. They don't care. And it's one distraction after another, after another, after another. And people now, especially with this whole Trump conviction thing, people have had enough. And as I said yesterday, the bear has finally been poked. And that doesn't mean that we're going to go out and riot in the streets, and that people who actually complied and had masks on and all that are going to go out in the streets. We work. People are smarter than that. They pay with their money. Why Donald Trump, since May, has $300 million in his campaign coffers? That's how conservatives do, is we talk with our money. We don't go out and act like an asshat and go out there and fight with signs and carry on and throw things and burn and loot and all that. That conservatives want to find a solution to a problem, not make another problem where there's already a problem. And going in and looting and rioting is just another problem. And that's all brought on by the people that want to destroy our country. And you can say it's the whole world order. You can say it's globalization, whatever you want to call it. But it's absolutely part of what Obama and Jake Sullivan are doing as part of the Biden administration. And we can't forget that. It's much bigger than what everybody's just looking at on Fox News.
Well, it all makes me sick to my stomach, especially because we focused and talked about Ashley Biden and her diary, which was proven to be true. Yet the left, nobody covered it in the media.
Mm-hmm.
We did, and we're going to continue to cover it because they hide things. They cover it up, and that's what they do with the national media. They hide everything.
That's right.
And they don't let you know the truth. And then if we don't talk about it and move on to something else, maybe it'll go away.
That's right.
We won't have to worry about this anymore. Oh, let's go to Trump. Let's focus on Trump. Let's get those national messages out there. The family's messed up. Joe Biden is messed up, not only in a deviant way, but a psychological way
He
as
messed
well.
up those kids. I agree with Jamie that she believes that Hunter and Ashley were sexually abused by Joe, and this is the addiction to medicate this. And we don't know that absolutely for sure. However, you see how Joe Biden is around little kids. We know for a fact, according to Ashley, that
And
he
we
took
show
showers
facts
with her.
we're
Yes,
not
it's
just here
facts.
giving you we're showing you facts.
That's right.
We're about facts, not opinions. Facts
right.
about opinions. Facts first. That's what we do here.
Right.
You may see other shows, they don't show facts. They're just giving you an opinion.
That's right. But it's facts. And like Megan, who works on this show as well, and myself have long histories of working with children that have been abused. And more times than not, it came from a parent, more so than neglecting. It's some form of sexual abuse, and they need an addiction, and they turn out to be very non-functional adults if somebody doesn't intervene. And nobody intervenes with Joe Biden. He's embarrassing, and he's been a liar for 50 years, and no one stops this man. It's very tragic is what's happening. No one. And it's a fact that he even didn't pay any attention to his latest grandchild. What kind of heathen does that? That is your baby, and your grandchild is still an extension of you. They're your baby, and you ignore them? Only somebody that has no heart can do that. This man is evil. And then him calling, I love you. I will do anything for you. Son, okay, pal. You know, if you've been abused, if you're Hunter Biden, that is repulsive. And they act out because he tried to hurt his dad. He's still trying to embarrass his dad. And he can bilk his dad for money because of the guilt Joe Biden is trying to hide. It's awful. And that's, you guys, the president of our United States. The leader of the free world is that man.
Well, he said it himself. I love you more than the world, and he's proving it.
What a great.
That is a great point. And that he will screw the rest of the world to hide what Hunter's doing. It's horrible. It really is.
Well, and we shouldn't be surprised at what's happened to Donald Trump as well with everything that's going on. And of course, as you saw, Donald Trump dealing not only with the atrocity that happened to him, and then Joe Biden coming out and calling him a convicted felon, and of course doing a presser right after the announcement, but he's not involved. And then a creepy smile that he gave.
Oh,
when
that was
asked,
the creepiest smile.
Are you a part of any of this? We shouldn't be surprised.
No, he stopped and turned around with that look.
Do you think if Hunter is convicted, his father will call him a convicted felon?
No.
Probably not.
No, absolutely not. This is all political, even up to the point that July 11th, just keep watching July 11th and what happens on July 11th, and what 2 days later or so at the Republican convention, which true rhino, and I'm not using the overword used, the ones that really are Democrats that don't want Trump there too. Watch what happens in those 2 days. It's going to be quite telling.
I have we try to find some more positive stories to end on and talk about as we do certain things. But remember the story, and Joel put the picture up, the fraternity brothers at the University of North Carolina that held up the flag when the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-terrorist were on campus and going after the American flag, and the fraternity brothers. And we played that sound for you of one of the guys who was a part of it, who held the flag up and wouldn't let anybody go after it. And they stood there, and he said they had all kinds of crap being thrown at them. And he's like nasty stuff and people trying to assault them, but they stood strong holding the flag up. Well, they had a GoFundMe account. And then at one point I saw it had 200,000, then it had 300,000. They literally stood there for an hour of listening to people scream and cuss at them, all kinds of crap being thrown at them. But they held the American flag up until it could be restored in a display that many consider to be an act of patriotism. I do for sure. I do as well. Well, in response, a GoFundMe account that was started for them to throw a party.
It was to throw a party is what it was about.
For the fraternities involved that helped make this happen at the University of North Carolina, raised $515,000 Well, $515,507
Mhm.
by the time the donation ended.
That is beautiful.
So yesterday, they announced that their party, which has now been termed Flagstock
Oh, I love that. Flagstock.
2024, is
Beautiful.
set to take place Labor Day, September 2nd, 2024. And they are talking about, they have an organization called Pints for Patriots, which includes a board of directors and a small team of volunteers that are ensuring that every cent of donor dollars goes towards throwing these fine young men, fine young Americans, the most epic rager of all time, and a rager that they earned.
That is so cool. And you can bet there's going to be American flags all over that.
Security better be really tight.
You
Yeah,
can,
good point. Well, I think with $501,000 or whatever it was, you can get yourself some police officers that are off duty to protect you for sure.
quote, nothing unifies America like an epic party.
You betcha.
The location will be announced closer to the event, but the party will be free of charge for all invited guests. These great young guys defended our flag and created a unifying national culture moment.
Love it.
Everyone in America wanted to thank these fine young patriots. On
betcha.
Labor Day, we will get a chance to do just that. Pints for Patriots is grateful to all donors who made the party possible. Updates on the party will be posted at flagstock.live. Once again, flagstock.live. $515,000 is going there. And also, country music star John Rich discussed his plans to play a free show
Mhm.
at Chapel Hill in an interview as well. He said that I was so impressed by what I saw those college students do. It made me think somebody taught them right, raised
Yes.
them right, that you never let the American flag touch the ground under any circumstance.
That's right.
Pay close attention on anybody who tries to stop it.
Yes.
Somebody raised these guys correctly. They
Good parenting right
understand
there.
what's going on. John Rich, the country music star, also said that the event at UNC could feature a potential massive outpouring of artists, in addition to John Rich, who want to show their appreciation for the students, which they plan to call Flagstock
I love it.
2024.
That's beautiful.
Isn't this a great story?
Yes, it is.
I mean,
It's a
these are the
great
kind of stories,
story.
you know what? Good coming out of evil.
Yes.
And Glenn wants me to remind everybody that, of course, and this is another story that we covered here. Yes, Joe. Remember that the University of North Carolina also was one of the first schools to kill their DEI program.
That says a lot, a lot. And you were just, well, not at the college, but you were just in North Carolina. And that goes with what you were telling us yesterday, that that's Trump country, that there's American flags. And if you don't want to say it's Trump country, it is very patriotic and American flags everywhere. And that is a wonderful thing to see. And I hope those kids have the best party. And what a great day to have it on. It's like, the kids get ready to go back to school. Or they might even be back to school, and it's Labor Day. They didn't take away from anything from a veteran like Memorial Day or Veterans Day. They did it on Labor Day. I mean, how appropriate is all of that?
I wonder if President Trump will make an appearance.
If he doesn't, because of security reasons, I could see him videoing in at the very least, because I bet they have those big video monitors up there.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Boy, he should.
Yeah, he absolutely should be there. Absolutely. And by then we'll know what he was sentenced to. And I would hope, even if he's under house arrest
Maybe
at that time.
we made it. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know that he will be, but if he is, I hope he videos in. That would be exciting.
I'm, as Megan says, I'm just so proud of those boys to do that. They didn't just go, okay, we're just going to go, we don't want any trouble. We're just going to, you know what? They did what was right. And it's not easy. Terry says, I bet Toby Keith would have been there.
Oh,
Probably.
I bet so.
Donna's praying for a safe party for them.
Yes.
I guarantee national news won't be covering it, but national news would be covering something if it was anti-America. That's for sure.
That's right. And the only way that they would be, the liberal news will be making fun of it in some sort of way if they cover it at all.
I just love the entire aspect of everything that is happening when it comes to these situations.
Mhm.
This is what it's about. This is what we should get excited about. And of course, it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's right. Well, and like Paul is saying on the chat line, that would be a great road trip just to watch the event. Even if you're not invited in there, I'm sure it's so big. It would be fun just to sit outside of the event and watch people going in. That would be an absolute hoot.
That's the good news. We always try to give updates on news that's coming. Just wanted to give this coming out. Ben says it'd be kind of funny if Budweiser donated the beer.
Wouldn't that be great? That would be hysterical, actually. You know what? Ben is a smart businessman, and that would be a great thing for Anheuser-Busch to do.
Sponsored by Bud Light.
Yep. I think that could maybe almost correct most of it if they do that. I think you'd see people flocking to buying. I think I might buy myself a Budweiser after that if they did that. I like it, Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, they should,
Mm-hmm.
but they've got 515,000. I mean, that's a lot for a party.
Yeah, it is. That would be one hell of a party. I mean, how fun. And I love it. I love it.
And it's all promoting patriotism.
Yes.
Which is even better.
Yes. Flagstock. What a great name. That's the best name ever. And if you're a parent, oh my gosh, if anybody of those boys, bravo to you, parents. Bravo to you. That is wonderful.
And Anheuser-Busch should put out a special Bud Light can with the
Yes.
American flag on it for it.
That's right.
Joe,
and even
that's
say
terrific. That picture,
Flagstock.
that picture that you just showed on the can.
Wouldn't that be great?
Could you see that picture on a can?
Yes. Look at that picture.
I'd drink from that can.
I drink from that can.
I'd start drinking Budweiser.
Me too.
I'd eat less calories somehow, some other way.
That's right.
I
Mhm.
would drink a Budweiser.
Mhm.
Hell yeah, I would.
That's right.
Mitch
Mitch is saying it's early. Quit talking me into it. I guess having a beer. Mhm. That's right.
No rainbow flags. Michelle, kudos to the parents. Before we got out of here today, I did want to give one other update. Our Simon Atiba, who we had, that would be great to do a live show from there. Great idea,
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes. Love that idea.
Oh, that would be
We need to think about that.
Mhm.
And it's in the state you kind of dig now.
Well, that's in North Carolina, but this is in North Carolina. I love South Carolina, but North Carolina's close.
Well, weren't you at North? Oh, you were at South.
I was in
Duh.
South
Yeah,
Carolina.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Okay, they're right next
Yeah,
door.
but my son's in North Carolina all week. One of my
Yeah, well,
sons.
see, there you go. There you go.
You know what's funny? My son's actually at the University of North Carolina tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, he's in North Carolina right now as we speak.
I
Football
love
camps.
that.
He's at the University of North Carolina football camp
That's
tomorrow.
beautiful.
Of
I
all
love it.
places. I know, go figure. Love hearing that.
I do too.
I wanted to get into this information before we got out of here today. We'll get into it more. We'll see where it goes. This is a maybe down the road story. I know a lot of people have talked about this, but Simon Atiba reporting NATO now developing multiple, quote, land corridors
Mhm.
to swiftly move U.S. troops and armor to the front lines in the event of a major European ground war with Russia. So they're already putting this message out there.
Of course they are.
Soldiers, American soldiers, would land at one of 5 ports and be directed along pre-planned logistical routes to confront a, quote, potential attack by Moscow. This is what NATO officials are telling, they told, quote, the Telegraph.
NATO sucks.
The latest and, quote, scary developments comes as President Biden is flying to Paris tonight to commemorate World War II and promise that he will defend democracy at all cost. His visit, this is just look at all of the pictures here and think about this. His visit includes marking the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landing, highlighting the sacrifices made by Allied forces and underscoring the enduring commitment to freedom and democracy.
Mm-hmm.
The White House said he will deliver a speech on democracy. He will fly back to Delaware on Sunday before returning to the White House next week. He can't do all of that.
Well, and Trish reminds us this is a war before voting day. I mean, think about it. It's getting too close. It's too close to the election to not
Terry
think
says
about
she knows
that.
of some soldiers deployed near there already recently.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. There's so
Is
much.
this a black swan event that we've talked
Could
about
be.
before the election?
Mm-hmm.
Midnight Sun, World War III will be the biggie before November. NAGO, big shit stir. Yep, they are.
They are. I mean,
But there's Democrats and people, oh, we love NATO is so great. No,
of
it's
course,
bad.
Democrats say that. And you know what? They never said much about it. The average Democrat didn't say anything about it till Trump was against NATO. So now all of a sudden it's bad. They didn't care before.
So we love that you guys come with us. We bring you the stories that we possibly can. We try to do everything that we possibly can with this life in this world that we live in, bringing you truth. And we appreciate you guys doing the same thing that we do in regards to studying and bringing information and giving you the people's platform to come out and speak and talk and bring this information forward. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent, we're trying to bring it forward as best as we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it a little bit. I said it was the Washington Post, by the way, they fired their executive editor. The Washington Post on Sunday night, their boss told the editors, told the writers, nobody reads you anymore. And it's because of your one-sidedness.
That's right.
He's like, you need to look at how you cover stories differently because they become so damn liberal.
Yeah.
So liberal. That's because you do have a voice. And guess what? If nobody listens to the crap they put out, if you turn it off, if you don't buy it, you don't read it, guess what? They're going to be forced to change or they will die.
That's right.
We saw it with CNN and now the Washington Post doing the same damn thing. So don't feel for a second that there aren't victories out there that you get when it comes to feeling as if truth is not being told. I think this is the Washington Post.
Yeah. Very liberal.
Nobody is reading you guys anymore.
No, they sure aren't. No, they aren't.
Oh my God, how that was music to my ears. And even the boss was told, well, let's wait until after the election. He's like, no, we're doing it now. We're changing. They fired the executive editor, and it pretty much puts people on notice. These writers and I guess people who put disinformation out into society.
Yeah.
So don't think for a second, once again, you can't make a difference because you can.
The winds, they are a-changing.
Let's hope that they are. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That does it for me. Anything else we need to get to today?
No, I think we covered most everything.
I want to save the Tucker and
We'll do
Don
that
Jr.
tomorrow.
for tomorrow, if that's all right. Can we save that for tomorrow?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Great show today, guys. Have a blessed day, everyone. Chris says conspiracy earlier. If something happened to Joe on his visit, would that be the catalyst to start World War III and also replace Joe on the ballot? Just speculation. Anything's possible these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of out there, but hey, you never know.
That's right.
Unfortunately, this country has seen a revolutionary war, then civil war, now back to revolutionary one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we just really have to keep our eyes peeled. And I know we all will between now and August. There's going to be so much stuff going on, and even more so from August to November. We're going to have a huge Black Swan event. It's coming.
Brace yourselves.
Brace yourselves. It's coming because they've tried everything. They've literally tried everything. We even have a former president that's a, quote, as Bummer says, a felon. A convicted felon. So, and that didn't do anything. It backfired in their face. So they'll have to try something else now.
Guys, we appreciate you joining us today for cancelthisshow.com. For Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. Please like, subscribe, share the show. Check out our advertisers or sponsors. Thank you for any donations that come in. Thank you for giving us story ideas, and thank you for participating. We'll continue to try to do it as good as we do every day. Enjoy your day. That does it for the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. Have an awesome day.